Hello, and welcome to Podcast X. What's up, everyone? This is Podcast X, and welcome back to another pod. I am joined once again by my co-presenter, Callum Pugh, and today we're going to be talking... Sorry, what was that, my friend?
I'm not a co-presenter.
We're both co-presenters. That's how it works. We are both co-presenters.
Listen, I'm a lone wolf.
We'll go back to Pewee News and Gaming then.
I'm kidding. God, Jesus Christ.
So in this pod, we're going to be talking about VAR. And we attempted this pod before, but we felt like we could add more points to it. And I feel as if it was a little bit X-rated. Or R-rated in the other one, so we're going to keep this one a little bit more toned down, I think, for YouTube standards.
Yeah, just in case we go a bit over the top.
Yeah. First of all, I want to know your sort of opinion on it, Pewee. So, obviously, before VAR, it was not a stop-start game. It was a game to enjoy, but people were still miffed about referees not being good enough, and VAR was brought in to give them that little bit of a push, bit of an extra, something to fall back onto. Do you think that VAR has kind of kept up to people's expectations of it, or do you think it's just been an absolute shambles?
To be honest with you, I think having just seen like this week's games, I think that it's everyone's still confused by it. I think that it helps in certain aspects. Some referees make good decisions from it. Some make some absolute bizarre decisions from it.
Oh yeah.
So really, I can't really put my finger actually on it if it's good or bad at the moment. The last video we did, obviously, which users will probably never see, I was really against it.
See that.
I was really against it. I was saying it needs to be thingied off. But I do, however, think if it's played right, it could work, but I do think it's still killing the pace of the game, and I just think it slows the game down too much. And like last, I think it was when we played Chelsea, Liverpool played Chelsea. I think Timo Werner scored a goal, and for me, it should not have been given. It shouldn't have been ruled out. It should have been a goal. And that's me saying that another team scoring against my team. You know what I mean? I'm not being biased or.
Well, you're staying unbiased, and that's what we want to hear.
Yeah,
we want to hear that unbiased.
There's a lot of decisions where they're not being made correct. And then I've just seen something on the news where today actually they're gonna be. Well, it was on social media. Apparently, referees, like obviously you got match interviews and stuff at the end where you get the managers and stuff. Apparently, they want to put referees in that as well. Not with the manager, obviously, but they should obviously to explain why they've made this decision and why it stood. And I think they should. I really do. I think
it's a good idea, personally.
Yeah, I do. I think it's a good idea.
Yeah.
I'd like a bit more clarity.
Because it puts them on the spot, and if they have fucked up, sorry, they're already, there's a bleep right there. If they have messed up in the game, it gives them a chance to explain themselves. It gives them a chance to come out and say, okay, my bad. They won't do that. They'll think of some justification as to, why they made the decision, and they'll still have the backing of their other officials, or the linesman and the fourth official.
Yeah.
I can't wait to see the likes of Kevin Friend and Mike Dean getting grilled by the interviewer at full time, because that would just cause cause fisticuffs, mate. That will cause fights. Yeah, that will cause people getting really.
It depends, doesn't it? Because
absolutely.
It could be if they do that. Basically, they could. It could be like a thing where, look, I've made a bad decision, I've done it wrong, my bad. So I'd have more respect for people to actually put their hands up in the air and say, look, I made the wrong decision. I've seen it back and I've made the wrong decision. I think another thing, when the crowd is back, when they come back, a lot of obviously decisions, especially with like the likes of different teams, like I'm gonna probably just say Manchester United, just for this reason. Say I think even Liverpool. I don't know what I'll even admit Liverpool. Say when just obviously like you've got 40,000 fans screaming at you saying penalty, penalty. The referees can be influenced.
I think
it can be influenced, but
they can be.
It's up to a referee to be.
Of course they can.
Really, like this is my decision. Final.
I think you see that a lot in the lower games in the league, and especially in grassroots football.
Yeah.
If you get a young referee who's just starting out and he's getting that sort of chat from the touchline, from the sideline rather, you can better know that person's going to sway towards a team that potentially aren't giving him any grief.
Yeah.
And if they're both giving it, and if they're both giving it him, both teams, he might, out of sort of fright, or he might give decisions away that are penalties or free kicks in dangerous positions. But to sort of come back to what you said before about a referee should hold up in his hands and say that he got it wrong. I'm sorry, but he shouldn't be getting it wrong in the first place. There's a reason why VAR has been brought in. Because the referees aren't good enough. And they never have been.
Yeah, I do. No, I do agree with that. But I do think it's people's. Look, every single person has a different opinion. It doesn't matter if you're a Newcastle fan, Liverpool fan, Manchester United fan, Chelsea fan, Southampton fan. It doesn't matter. Every single person has a different opinion. Okay, so I could turn around and say to you, Liverpool's goal when back all the way when we played Everton, with Jordan Henderson scoring the end, should have been a goal.
Yeah.
Now you've seen it. You think it's a goal. If you ask any Everton fan,
of course I'll say no.
100% goal. No, it's not. So it's
not.
the same thing with all different decisions all over the clubs. So if it suits their club, they're obviously going to turn around and say the opposite of what you're saying. Now, I think it's like I think it's like that with referees as well. I really do. I think that's quite similar with referees.
But I think one thing I do know, I think it's pretty obvious, because I know through sources anyway, that a referee can't referee the team he supports.
That shouldn't be happen. That shouldn't happen.
It shouldn't happen. I don't think it. I think it's something that is in place. Like you wouldn't have Mike Dean referee Tranmere Rovers. Not that he ever would, and you wouldn't have Andre Mariner referee Aston Villa, because then it's completely unbiased. He's obviously going to want his team to do well. So if he is there at Stockley Park doing the VAR, or if he is a fourth official, he can't even be present at the game at all if it's to do with his own team. But my other sort of thing to that, if obviously we're touching on referees, is if let's say Andre Mariner, I'm just using it as an example because I know some things about Andre Mariner. Let's say Villa get relegated to the Championship next season, and they have a game against Birmingham. And let's say Andre Mariner has been called to... let's say Birmingham, obviously Villa's rivals, and they're both in contention to be promoted to the Premier League. So let's say they're first and the third.
Yeah.
All right, because obviously you got two that go up, and then you get a third one through playoffs.
Yeah.
And let's say Birmingham are playing Brentford, and Andre is reffing. Obviously, you're going to have that biased thing towards Villa, because if Villa are top, and all they need to do is for Birmingham to lose to go up to the Premier League, let's say, he's gonna referee that game on very, very biasly. Yeah. So I don't know how that would work. I think that's something that's definitely slipped under.
In another sense, though, you could turn around and say, if one of them did referee that game, that maybe they don't give decisions to their club because they don't want to be biased. Like I remember a few years ago, probably if you remember this, Howard Webb. Do you remember, obviously, that referee?
Oh,
Now,
everyone.
a lot. And
He was a good ref, to be fair. I didn't
he
mind
was a
how
good ref. Said look, if he refed in a World Cup final, he must have been a good referee.
So, of
but
course.
I've got to admit, even I've said this in the past, when he used to manage against Liverpool and Manchester United, I used to 100% believe he was a Manchester United fan.
That's the thing.
I always used to say it. I always used to say it. Now I look back and I go, well, he's probably not. Said he might be. I don't know. I had no idea. Said I don't know nothing about him. Just that he was a referee. You've got to have a fine line of. To me, you've got to have a fine line of refs. So that you need people who probably haven't got any ties with any clubs. You probably, to be honest, I don't know why they just don't employ people who don't even like football, like at the ref games.
I think that's what they kind of go for in the Champions League, because you ever watch a Champions League game, the referee's always a different nationality to the players. Like, you get a World Cup final, you get a Champions League final, you've got, say, Liverpool playing Belgium. You're not going to have an English ref, and you're not going to have a Belgian ref, are you?
No,
you're going to have probably an Italian or
Switzerland
or a Swiss or
yeah, exactly, yeah.
You know what I mean? Someone who's completely unbiased in terms of race, not even just race, just the language they speak, because a lot of it can really sway a game, and it's not just the fact of that; it's the mindset of the other team. They think, shit, they've got the referee on their side because of this thing, because of this way. We don't stand a chance. You know what I mean? But I think, like, to go back on to talking about VAR, because I think we got a little bit off track. We spoke a little bit about ref, which is fine.
Yeah.
Do you think that, because there's been talk of VAR being taken away?
Well, there has been, yeah.
There's always talk of it being stripped again, because I say again, just stripped completely, because it's ruining the game for fans who watch the game, and it's a stop-start game, as we know. It's difficult to watch, and it's very different to how it used to be years ago. And they always say the glory days are long gone, because the Premier League now, all you got to do is touch a man and he goes down holding his head, even though you've just brushed his shin with your knee or whatever in the challenge. Do you think that if VAR is took away, do you think the amount of referees' mistakes would increase because they haven't got that sort of safety net of VAR?
I think that. Well, for me, it shouldn't. For me, it shouldn't be a safety net.
But I think they look at it as it. In all due respect, because it's brought in to help them.
Yeah, no, I know that.
In a way.
I get that. See, but look, I'd much rather a person who's refereeing be to the point where they're happy with their own decisions. Said, I think people have more respect for a referee to not have the technology, ruin the things. Look, sometimes it can be close, say like offside decisions.
Oh yeah, of course.
I don't know, maybe handball decisions. You couldn't really see it where the referee's position is. I can understand them using it, but look. You don't know what goes on inside the rooms, what they're seeing.
And in their heads, it's all a mental game, refereeing.
So the mad thing is you see a referee, and you see someone in the middle, two linesmen, a fourth official. Now, we see them, but we don't see what's in the room of the VAR people who are speaking in the ears. We don't see that. In rugby, like, I'm not a big, massive follower of rugby, but I'm pretty sure you obviously hear the referees.
You can have the opportunity, to
hear them communicating with each other loud and clear. Why don't they have that in football?
They have that in cricket as well. Like, the whole crowd can hear exactly what the officials are saying.
Simple as, why don't they have it in football?
Well, there's been talk of that, I've heard, and it would be very interesting to know what will go on, because I think it's going to be something that the referees are going to want to stay clear of, because they're going to want to keep whatever is corrupt over that line strictly confidential, because I can just tell, like if a team's giving a referee a hard time, this referee might say, "Oh, do you know what? Bollocks this team. I'm going to give this team a free kick even if he just kicks him." Do you know what I mean? Like, because I do in my head and they're giving me so much abuse. Yeah. And I think, as a referee myself, you look out for your sort of officials' backs, especially if you've got linesmen, because they are the. But now that VAR is here, linesmen might as well not have a job. It's simple as they don't even raise the flag anymore, even if it's not offside.
I think to be honest with you, look. So do you remember obviously we didn't have VAR and people were kicking off other linesmen's flagging for offside and stuff, and people were complaining about well, it was onside and you flagged offside. I think VAR is sometimes, I think it corrects that sometimes, but then sometimes I think you're going too wild with it, because
I think
the other night with Timo Werner, like they said he was off by, I think it was an arm, but he was in a position where he looked onside. A few myself looked at it and went, he was onside. There's no way. If you're now telling us that if you're a centre forward or a striker, your body shape can't be in a position of running in behind a defence, because if you're going, as soon as you're like running into make a run, your body is naturally running obviously through or like behind a defender.
Yeah.
So if you're saying that the line's here by, you're not going to be off by a hand or a foot, the body's in an unnatural position, say, to be judged. Say, the body shape has got to move forward, even if it's by an arm. It can't go from going backwards to forwards, because that's just putting the strikers at disadvantages. Do you know what I'm saying?
Yeah, and I think as well, I've seen a lot of games this season where they're given offside on the VAR because their hand is offside, or their arm.
Or the knee.
But if that was a VAR check for an offside, it would be given as offside. But if you look at a goal, for example, and the ball's come off his hand and it's gone into a path of an attacker who's then scored, that goal would be given as a no-goal because it come off his hand. Yeah. I think VAR is it's brought the stigma of giving the linesman that little bit more support, absolutely, because they needed it. Because you could watch the replay back and the commentators would go, "Oh, he's made a terrible decision there. Yeah. You know, he was 2 yards onside." VAR has cleared that up. That's what VAR is there for. But the fact that if you've got someone's arm or hand behind them or just over what would be offside, you don't score with your hand. You don't score with your arm. Because if you do, it's given as handball and it's an indirect free kick for the other team. That's the rules, right? Yeah. So therefore, in my opinion, if it's offside, if your arm is in an offside position, it's not offside, because you're not going to use your arm to score a goal, because we're not in the days of Maradona anymore with the hand of God, because now we actually have something to, make it clear that it is an offside, that it is a handball. Because if they had VAR back then, Maradona's goal wouldn't have stood. But if your arm's offside, you're offside. I personally think that's ridiculous. And I think they need to re-evaluate what VAR actually is and what it's there to do. And like I keep saying, it's because the referees aren't good enough, mate. This is the best league in the world, and the referees are given so many chances.
But do you think that? Look, I was talking about this, but obviously, like me, our fella, and we discussed, like, when Liverpool played the Champions League the other night, playing against Leipzig. When they're in the Champions League, the refereeing is so much. I know it's a controversy at times, but the refereeing is so much better than what it is in.
Of course it is.
Our league, it's so much better. Like,
of course it is, because they're on the world stage. They can't afford to be making mistakes.
Exactly, yeah. So obviously, don't get wrong. You do get some referees where.
Of course you do.
They've made a mistake, but like, look at the Liverpool and Barcelona game a few years back when they brought it back, beat Barcelona 4-0. They had VAR then? Did it spoil that game?
I don't even think they used VAR once.
No, they never.
In a moment that I can remember. Do you know what I mean? A significant moment.
There you go. Exactly. See, now that game didn't have any proper VAR checks or anything, and that was because the referee himself was probably comfortable say, and I've never, do you know what? Ever since that game with VAR, I've gone. Everything was absolutely fine that game. It was the pace of the game on that night was brilliant. Said obviously
Oh yeah,
game
unbelievable
was
game.
The VAR wasn't involved hardly at all in that game.
That's what VAR needs to do. It needs to do a lot without showing it. Do you know what I mean? About showing it a lot.
We don't need to see all this different lines and stuff. We don't need to see it because it causes so much controversy.
They don't need to use VAR after every single check. It's after every single incident.
Look what
you know, if a referee sees an incident unfold, if a referee sees like an elbow, right, he can decide if that's, you know, foul play or serious foul play because it's an elbow. If he's gone up with it for a header and he's used his arms, then you can argue that it's not foul play and he's used his arms to propel himself. But if this is an off-the-ball incident and the referee sees out the corner of his eye as the guy breaks away from his attacker or defender and he elbows him, then that's clearly serious foul play, and a referee can make a decision there and send that player off. But the fact that they check after every single incident, it makes the game so stop-start and so boring now.
Well, if you look, sorry, Dave. If you look at something happened the other night with Borussia Dortmund, I think it's Sevilla in Champions League. Now VAR was used again in this moment. Now, I don't know if you've seen that this happened, but basically Eric Haaland had a penalty, right? Yeah,
I've seen it. Yeah,
the penalty was saved, then the play carried on, and then or it might have been. It was I think he scored, right? First of all, and it was a push on him. Then it played on, and he checked it in VAR, and it played, and it went back to play on. Then the ball obviously went down the other end. I think then something went on and another cross in for a penalty. Eric Haaland wanted a penalty, and then all of a sudden VAR goes to check, and then they bring it all the way back. And do you know why the decision was given against them to retake of the penalty? Because the goalkeeper was off his line. So even though there was a foul that led up to that penalty, they went back and then rechecked another decision of the goalkeeper back on his line. Yeah, obviously, but it was going to be a penalty anyway, but it wasn't for that decision there and then. It was because he brought it back. But the game had already gone on. Do you know what I mean? The game had already gone on, and then that decision happened, and then they brought it back for that decision because the goalkeeper just because they noticed he wasn't on his line.
Exactly, and that's what I mean. It's things like that really ruin the game and take all the fun out of the game, mate.
Exactly. So it's just inevitably Sevilla were going to have a penalty against them anyway. Even if it was a foul on Eric Haaland the other night or the goalkeeper on his line, there's no way the referee wouldn't have been. It's just they've got no clarity to the decisions. They need to start. I think if they were going to improve the VAR, there needs to be a system of where they can justify what they've done and actually come out and say, like what other managers do when they take criticism of what the decisions make. They need to obviously be brave enough, the referees, to come out and say, hold their hands up and down and say, I've made the wrong decision. Or come out and then say, I've made the right decision.
Well, it gives them that chance for clarification, but it also leaves the door open for more criticism. You know, if they come out and say, I've done this wrong and I apologise, they would never. I don't think they'd say that, but if they did, the backlash would be disgusting. Because they would be faced with, you should know how to do your job.
Yeah, but I'd much rather have some clarity in decisions.
I don't think it would be in their place to say I've made a mistake. It would be the response would probably be on like a statement from the FA. You know, I think a referee would be very strongly advised against talking to the media about a mistake that they've made, unless another referee has challenged them and then has spoken to the media.
Yeah, but for me, I think if a manager can come out and take criticism on by the media, and a
referee should too.
Everyone's meant to be a professional. Why can't they come out and say what they've done?
I see what you mean. I know where you're coming from.
I just think that'd be the best thing to happen. I'd much rather a referee say, come out and say, I've given this decision because of this, this, and this, and then I can understand why they've made it, and that's what he thinks he's seen, and I have more respect for people like that. I would.
Yeah.
But, so we just got to see what happens.
That's it. That's it.
So obviously, guys, we're coming towards obviously the end of this video. So right, we're going to obviously have the bit of the music in. So without further ado, say hello to Bobby Jenkins.
Here we go.
I've been trying to find my way, but I keep getting lost in the words you say. If only I could find the right path to wander down, can see you on this one that I walk, so I turn around. I'm lost with you, I'm lost with you, lost in these mixed signals. Another day stuck in the games we play. Another blue sky which turns to grey. If only I could find a way to tell you how I feel, too scared to lose this thing that we hide, so I try to keep it real. I'm lost with you, I'm lost with you, lost in this game you've made. I am so tired of trying to figure out if this is real or if I should doubt it. I think I'm gonna doubt it. I'm lost with you, I'm lost with you, lost in this game you've made. I'm lost with you, I'm lost with you, but I won't start until I've played. I'm lost with you, I'm lost with you, lost in these mixed signals. I'm lost.
So guys, I really hope you've enjoyed this episode of the pod about VAR. If you want us to hear us talk about more things to do with football, please leave a comment down below in the comment section. It would really help us out. We need some more ideas, and we also need more guests, guys. So if you guys could share this pod and we can get some more guests on, that would be absolutely amazing. We're trying to hit 1,000 subscribers by the end of the year because we need to get monetized.
Yeah.
So we will do all we can to get the content out for you guys. All you got to do is sit back, relax, and enjoy. So it's goodbye from Pewee. It's goodbye from me. We'll see you guys in the next pod. Take care.
Hey everyone, just before you go, just want to say a huge thank you to Bobby Jenkins for obviously releasing that song today with us. Massive thank you. What a voice and what an amazing person as well. Okay, at the top is her Instagram if you want to get in touch with her, and at the bottom is her TikTok if you want to give her a follow on that. We hope to see you again very soon in the future, and obviously if you've got a good voice, why not obviously express it on the podcast. So if you want to obviously express your voice and show your voice off, get in touch with us through the channel and we will broadcast you. Okay, massive thank you again to Bobby, and we hope to see you all again very soon.